On a stormy autumn evening, Stephen and a group of friends decided to explore a mysterious mansion that stood deep in the woods. Locals warned them to stay away, whispering tales of its sinister history. But curiosity won out. The group steps inside the mansion, the heavy door creaking as they push it open. Their flashlights cut through the dust-filled air, revealing an enormous, dimly lit grand staircase. Torn carpeting lines the stairs, leading up into darkness. They exchange nervous glances. No one speaks, but the oppressive atmosphere presses down on them, making them question their decision to enter. Drawn to a side room, they find a massive library. Shelves stretch to the ceiling, crammed with dusty, cobweb-covered books. The air feels thick, and a faint, musty odor fills their lungs. One of the friends reaches out to grab a book when suddenly a faint, flickering candle at the far end of the room catches their attention. It wasn't there before. The flame trembles as though disturbed by a breath, but no one else is in the room. Or so they think. Shaken, they retreat back to the main hall, where the grand chandelier above them sways slightly. It's broken, hanging by a single chain, casting flickering shadows along the walls. The group pauses, listening. Is it the wind? But there's no breeze. Slowly, the chandelier creaks louder, as if something is pushing it from above, but nothing can be seen. They move on, feeling eyes on them. They wander down a long, dark hallway lined with closed doors. The sound of their footsteps echoes unnaturally. One of the doors is slightly ajar, but no one dares to open it. Instead, they pass, their flashlights revealing strange scratches on the walls. Suddenly, a door slams shut behind them, breaking the tense silence. Panic rises, but they convince themselves it was the wind, if only to calm their nerves. They descend into the mansion's cellar, stepping into a cramped, stone-walled room. The air is damp, and rusty tools hang on the walls. The floor is littered with broken glass and debris. In the distance, they hear a dripping sound, echoing in the silence. As they move toward it, one of the group members stops suddenly, claiming they saw something move in the shadows. Fear settles in as they begin to realize they are not alone. Needing fresh air, they head outside to a large garden hidden behind the mansion. It's overgrown with vines and strange, twisted plants. A thick fog rolls in, shrouding everything in a ghostly mist. As they wander through the garden, strange statues emerge from the mist, looming in unnatural poses. The fog thickens, and they realize they've lost sight of the mansion. Panic sets in as the statues seem to shift in the fog when no one is looking. After finding their way back inside, they decide to explore the attic. The stairs creak under their weight as they climb up to the highest floor. It's cramped and filled with broken furniture covered in dusty tarps. The windows are shattered, and a cold breeze rattles through the broken panes. Strange noises come from beneath the sheets. Something seems to be moving. One of the tarps slips off a piece of furniture, but instead of revealing a chair or a table, there's nothing there. The group recoils in horror. Next, they enter a grand dining room. The long table is set with dusty, broken plates and silverware, as if dinner had been prepared but never eaten. The chairs are overturned, and the stench of rot fills the air. At the head of the table, a candelabra flickers with a faint light, despite no one lighting it. As they step closer, a cold gust blows through the room, extinguishing the candles and plunging them into darkness. In another part of the house, they find an old nursery. The wallpaper is faded, peeling, and adorned with unsettling childlike drawings. Broken toys are strewn across the floor. A dusty rocking horse sits in the corner, and a crib with torn sheets stands against the far wall. The air grows colder, and without warning, the rocking horse begins to sway back and forth, as if an invisible child is playing with it. The group rushes out, heartbeats pounding in their ears. They try to leave the mansion, but find that the main door is stuck. The storm outside has worsened. The windows are dark, covered in ivy that seems to crawl up the walls like it's alive. The mansion, once grand, now feels like a decaying tomb. They look for another way out, but feel the weight of the house closing in on them. One of the group splits off and stumbles into an old bathroom. The tiles are cracked and the mirror is broken. A clawfoot bathtub sits in the corner, filled with murky black water. A foul smell permeates the air. As the friend approaches the tub, something under the water stirs, and a sudden splash sends them running from the room, the terror mounting. They regroup and find a hidden door behind a tapestry. It leads to a secret underground passageway. The stone walls are cold and damp, water dripping from the ceiling. Their flashlights flicker as they descend deeper into the unknown. The feeling of being watched intensifies, and strange symbols start to appear on the walls. The passage leads to an old greenhouse, its glass ceiling shattered. The plants inside have grown wild, overtaking the building. The group moves cautiously, brushing away the vines and weeds. In the corner, they find a decayed garden bench, and sitting on it, an old, tattered doll. A shiver runs down their spines as they realize the doll's head has turned, facing them. They return inside to warm themselves in a sitting room with a grand fireplace. The fire burns low, casting flickering shadows on the walls. The paintings above the mantel seem to watch them, eyes following their every move. One of the group members swears they hear whispers coming from the flames. They try to ignore it, but the tension grows unbearable. They find themselves in the basement again, this time in a part they hadn't explored. Old furniture, covered in white sheets, surrounds them. The floor is cold and damp, and strange symbols are scrawled on the walls. In the corner, they see an old dusty mirror. But the reflection isn't right. It's showing a version of the room from decades past, with figures moving inside it. But when they turn around, there's no one there. The basement leads to a hidden chapel. Dusty pews sit in rows, and the stained glass windows are broken. Moonlight filters through, casting fractured colors on the floor. The altar at the front is draped in shadows, and a sense of dread fills the air. As they step closer, they see a strange figure standing behind the altar. But when the light shifts, it disappears. They retreat to a bedroom, hoping for safety. But something feels off. A large mirror hangs on the wall, cracked and discolored. When they look into it, their reflections are distorted, as though something else is standing beside them in the reflection. Something they can't see in the room. Their exploration leads them to a music room. A grand piano sits in the center, its keys covered in dust. As they approach, the piano begins to play on its own, a haunting melody that echoes through the room. Sheet music flutters off the stand and scatters across the floor. The music swells, filling the air with tension. At the end of a long corridor, they find a cellar door, slightly ajar. A flickering light shines from within, illuminating stone steps leading down. The group hesitates, but they know this might be their only way out. As they descend, the door slams shut behind them, trapping them in the darkness below. And at the end, none of them got out of the mansion. Would you like to visit and explore this mansion too? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoy the video and want more creepy stories, please hit like, share, and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. That's all for today. Thank you, and have a nice day.